Hello everyone, today we are going to make a four-way air hose system for an air compressor. Why? Because spending 20 minutes airing up and down each tire is like using a straw to empty a pool. Another benefit of the four-way air hose is that it's auto-pressurizing, meaning all four tires will be at the same exact pressure or PSI. No more drama or arguments on who's overinflated here. You have now become the Yoda of tires. Pressure balance achieved it has. Now, if you are with a group on a trail, you can now spend your free time lecturing everyone else on the time-space efficiency of multi-hose inflation. You need some basic tools and parts. Here's what you need. I will also list what you need in the description below. There are a lot of options for air hoses, but for our application, the best will be Flexzilla. We'll need a 50-foot roll of quarter-inch Flexzilla Air Hose. This is essential for this masterpiece. Why Flexzilla? Because they're lightweight, flexible in all temperatures, even extreme conditions. Not to mention they come in a very fashionable bright green color. You will also need 2 quarter-inch brass barb T-fittings. Combine enough of these and you'll have an air hose octopus ready to go. Attach the hoses to the T-connectors like you're assembling IKEA furniture. Except this comes with no instructions and 100% more air pressure. You will also need 4 quarter-inch NPT male pipe adapters to connect the air hose to other fittings. You will need a 4-way brass fitting, a pressure gauge, a shut-off valve, 4 air chucks, and this is very important. Make sure they are closed flow, not open flow. This way air cannot escape other tires when you take off an air chuck off one of the tires. You will need 1 male quarter-inch MNPT quick connect fitting. And finally, you need some clamps and a crimper to connect all fittings to the air hoses. Let's begin creating our 4-tire air inflation hose. We'll start by cutting our hose into 6 different pieces. You can measure and cut based on what works best for you. Here's how I did mine. I cut 2 12-foot pieces for back tires. I cut 2 3-foot pieces for front tires and 2 10-foot pieces for connecting to the brass 4-way fitting. You will also need a piece to connect to your air compressor. I did not include this since most people will likely already have one with their compressor. The 50-foot Flexzilla hose comes equipped with 2 fittings, one at each end. These will be our trusty connectors for the back tires. But first let's talk Teflon tape. Here's a pro tip. Always wrap the tape in the opposite direction of how you'd screw on a connection. Why? Because no one wants their Teflon tape doing its best impression of a coiled snake halfway through tightening. Now grab one of the air chucks. You'll need 9/16 inch in one hand and a 5/8 inch wrench in the other. Think of it as the ultimate teamwork exercise for your tools. Alright, next up, connecting the hose to all those barb fittings. Like this fancy brass barb T-fitting. Here's how it goes down. First, slide a clamp onto the hose. Don't skip this step, unless you want to make your life unnecessarily complicated later. Then take the barb fitting and push it onto the hose. Don't be afraid to put some muscle into it. Once it's snug, grab your trusty crimper and clamp it down like you mean it. And voila, that's the basic process for all barbed connections. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you watch me connect every fitting like it's the world's most boring reality show. Instead, I'll walk you through the finished 4-tire air hose setup so you can see where everything goes. Pro tip, for any connection that involves twisting a fitting on, don't forget your Teflon tape. It's your best friend here.
A few moments later.
Okay, let's talk about the remaining fittings. We already talked about making the one for the back tire. For the front tire, we use the T fitting right here. And then we're going to use another fitting, bar fitting right here for the air chuck for the front tire. Moving on up, our next connection is going to be to the 4-way. Okay, the 4-way brass fitting has the gauge, the pressure gauge on top, right up here. It has the shut-off valve next connected to the bottom here. And that's connected to the male NPT quick connect fitting. And for the other side, we basically repeat the same thing, the same connections for the other 2 tires. And that's it for our system. I also added this extra piece for my compressor. You may not need it because you may already have it. but here's how I did mine. I have a female NPT coupler, a 5-foot section of hose, and a male NPT connector here on this side to connect to my compressor. Now, you may need something different based on how your compressor is set up, but all the parts and pieces are going to be the same. Amazon Basics has a basically great kit, I'll put it in my description, that has a lot of these pieces that you can mix and match if you need another video on this compressor. This is a great compressor. This is actually faster than the industry standard for off-roading, which is the ARB twin compressor. It's basically 1/8 the cost. I did have to make some modifications, and I'll show you how to do that. So everything you see here wasn't there before, and it makes this compressor a much better compressor. And I'll show you all the mods that I've done for that in a different video. Okay, so let's go ahead and hook everything up and test it out. Okay, the air pressure is at 35. Let's see how long it takes for it to drop down to 20 psi, which is typically what I run when I'm on sand or on the beach.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
So for 35-inch tire, going from 35 to 20, it took about a little over a minute. Okay, so we're at 20 psi. Let's go ahead and see how long it takes to go back to 37 psi.
Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice.
Well, that was faster than a Jeep Wave at a stoplight. Less than 3 minutes to go from 20 psi to 36 psi. And the real MVP here is that 4-tire hose. It's like a tire whisperer, making sure all 4 tires are perfectly balanced at exactly 36 psi.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.